So for the situation for my instructional materials assignment, I wanted to make the setting a group of first graders with quite a few English language learners at the level 1 or the entering stage of learning English. And the book I decided to choose to lead the assignment and the instruction was called The Napping House by Audrey Wood, illustrated by Dawn Wood. Mostly because it's one of my favorite books from when I was growing up, and because in a group where, the language skills might be lower or not as stable, there's a lot of repetition in this book, and so I thought that would be really good because, by the time we read through the book the first time, that I feel like most of the students would be able to know what's going on, grasp what's going on, just because it's so repetitive. Let's see, so some activities that I would do were I would read through the book first, obviously with the whole class, and I thought what could be really fun and interesting to get the kids excited and involved would be to use manipulatives like this one here, because in the book it's kind of a pattern that the granny's asleep in the napping house, and then the little boy, and then the dog on him, the cat on him, and the rat and the flea, and then the flea bites the rat and leaves, and the rat wakes up and leaves, and so on and so forth. And so I thought it would be really cool to just, put the different things on like a magnetic board or on the smart board or something like that, and even have kids volunteer to go put them up during the part of the story that it happens in. And then I thought after that another really fun activity would be for students to create their own napping house, and so they could use their own lives and what their own house dynamics look like to create this. So they could draw pictures to represent, and we could have like templates of the pages. Since this is so repetitive, it could be more like a fill in the blank, like write your own napping house story. And so I don't feel like that would take too much language skill to be able to do, but it could help them create meaning. And so the theories that I feel like go along with these lessons would be the Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, because they would be getting to choose their own story, choose their own adventure, and there kind of are no rules. I mean, there kind of is an area where they would have to be following, because they'd have to be, people who can sleep, or like living animals, nouns, kind of things. But it would allow them to create their own story and really take ownership of that. And it's kind of like going on their own after being shown a model. I also think that the socio-cultural theory goes along with this as well, because getting students to participate, especially with the manipulatives and discuss, it is kind of a silly book, and so I feel like some discussions could be held after we read the book, like, oh, does your family look like that? And, is it silly to sleep on top of, someone? Like, that's a really high tower, what do you think she would wake up? And stuff like that could be kind of silly and fun, and to kind of explore the story and its meaning a little bit deeper, even though it's just kind of a silly story meant for fun. And then Cicerian's idea of parole, I think, could also go along with these lessons, because it can be applied to everyday life, because you're talking about like who lives at home with you, what does home life look for you, in a silly, laid-back kind of way. So I think that could be a really fun way to be able to make meaning. So some challenges that I think this lesson might incur are, since I did set it in such a young setting, being able to write and fill in the blank might be kind of hard, especially for the English language learners who might not be able to write the words they're looking for, like mom or dad or cat. So I thought instead a way to get around that is to fill in the blank with pictures, since that's kind of what we're dealing with the manipulatives and everything, to use the pictures to represent the word. And also it could be difficult because it is first graders. I'm not expecting them to be complete artists. So maybe it might also be a good idea. You can have the option to draw your own, or some tools could be given to like some printouts, some basic ones, and then they can label them as they want. Some other challenges might be that, if their home doesn't look like the model and they're having a hard time making their own based off of the model, because they can't get that model out of their head, there might be some scaffolding that might be needed, like some one-on-one help with the teacher saying, well, what does your home look like? Like, who lives in your home? Who would be the biggest person? They might want to be on the bottom, and just stuff like that, just to get them started and hopefully be able to get them to be off on their own and creating their own model. Some benefits, I think, to this lesson could be that they can be able to apply what we read in this book to their daily life, which makes it fun and exciting and personable. I also think that it will help some of the English language learners, especially because if they were lower in level, it would allow them to be able to pick up on sight words, since it is so repetitive, and then I can also be able to bring back the manipulatives to represent some of those words. So I think it could be really cool, a really great lesson, and yeah, thank you.